Okay, so I'm Jordan. This is my roommate / friend, Ashley. And today we're going to be talking about adolescence and social media. So, basically, I feel like it's definitely increasing nowadays with, like, new platforms coming out, like TikTok and...
Well, yeah, this generation is, like... It's crazy when you think about it, because when we were kids, we didn't even have, like, the internet was a big thing.
Yeah. When we were kids, it was really just, like, Facebook.
When it was
like, all these
out,
multiple platforms.
we were, like, basically at the border of, like, it already being age appropriate when it really started picking up. So we never even had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And now these kids, like, are growing, like, they're, like, toddlers and their social media. Yeah. So it has such a different effect.
And they, like, know how to, like, even kids, like, as young as, like, 5 years old, they know how to, like, work iPhones and stuff. Like, that alone freaks me out. But, yeah. And there's just so many, like, ways to, like, connect with your friends nowadays. Like, you can have your friend's number, but you can also have them on Snapchat. You can also message them on Instagram. Like, there's, like, so much communication going on. That more than it was when we were younger, I feel like.
And I feel like it's overwhelming, too. There's, like, a lot of burnout for people, and all these new anxieties and, like, social strains from, like, dealing with just, like, an endless stream of information all the time. And it's hard to, like, how do you focus your attention?
Yeah.
Your brain is, like, not meant to consume all of it.
Yeah, for sure. And to, like, think about, like, posting something here, like, oh, I posted a story on Snapchat and I have to post on Instagram when you're doing something. It's like no one can just really live in the moment anymore because everyone's so focused on, like, when they do something, oh wait, I have to take a picture of this. Like, I'm just as bad too. Like, and I feel like this generation, the younger generation, is probably, like, just as bad as not living in the moment and just constantly having to update everybody on what they're doing. Whether that's, like, by a status or a story or whatever.
Like, for teenagers, too, I'm just thinking about it because I have a younger sister who's a senior in high school and a younger brother who's a year younger than her. So he's a junior. And they both have Instagrams and they both have Snapchat and all these different things that, you know, I just feel like it adds so much more.
It's like a lot of pressure.
It amplifies, like, all of those things that we experienced when we were younger too, growing up, like fear of missing out, FOMO, like knowing that something's going on and you're not a part of it. You constantly see other people living what's, like, put out there, shown to be, like, better than you, constantly, like, their best lives, and comparing yourself. Think about when you're a teenager, like,
and, like, I don't know, it's just crazy because when you're young, that's such a hard time enough. Like, socially, like, you go through so many social issues with, like, friends and peers, and then, like, social media brought this generation to, like, a whole nother, like, ballgame of, like, socializing. Like, it's totally different than how it was probably in, like, the 1970s. Think about it. Like, think about being a teenager in the 1970s and being a teenager nowadays. It's so different just because of social media. It just keeps increasing. And I don't know, I feel like it's important to talk about because kids are too young, they're developing, their brains are developing. You have to deal with, like, people cyberbullying you. Yeah. Or, you know, a lot of bullies, like, are scared to...
Is it still recording?
I don't know, let me see. Okay, it's still recording. A lot of kids are kind of tend to bully as it is, and then giving a social media platform where they can't bully a kid to their face makes it a lot easier for them.
Yeah, to get away with, and then to avoid the guilt, and, like, people don't, I mean, they're still developing, like, learning what's right and wrong when they have access to this, and just getting away, like, letting, and not even that, but being validated by so many people for something so wrong.
We're definitely gonna get more into that too. Like, even, like, it's addicting. They spend less time outside. They spend more time on their phone. Even if they're outside, they're on their phones. Like, so they're not even presently there, like, living in the moment. Yeah. also just hinders social skills too, which is a big thing. Definitely makes it harder to like talk to people in person.
Think about it, like, I mean, have you ever seen those pictures where, like, it's like a subway car in the 19-something and, like, everyone's reading a book, newspaper, other ways to avoid people, like, they're all doing different things, but now you take, like, the same setting and there's, like, a picture in comparison and it's just everyone seated, looking straight down at their phones, everyone in that subway, so there's, like, I don't know, and
it's such a, I never realized that.
But,
yeah, definitely, I feel like it makes conversation in person harder, because teenagers are so in tune with their feelings, and I feel like it's easier for them to text their friends a paragraph about how they feel, but they won't say that in person. So it stops them from, like, talking and communicating in person, because they rely so much on text, or, like, messaging, or whatever. So that's also another thing to think about, but I don't know, I feel like it's very relevant to present day just because it's all these new platforms coming out, it's definitely like increasing nowadays for teenagers. They're like their target demographic.
What about
like TikTok and stuff like that?
Yeah, and so many like teenagers, people who are, you know, still dependents and still living under, like, with their family, they have the access now to, like, instantly have such, like, rise to fame, like, be in the public eye, anything, like, I don't know, it's just so different.
I feel like all those TikTokers, like those famous TikTokers, I mean, it's important for them to promote, like, a good look to kids, you know, to be a role model, but at the same time, that's a lot of pressure for them themselves, because they're teenagers. They do one thing and they're canceled, and then, like, it's just crazy. So, like, yeah. And then it just makes it, I don't know, it makes it harder for kids to relate to these influencers and these TikTok stars who get so much money and fame and do all these crazy things and live this crazy lifestyle, and then they're comparing themselves to them.
What's her name has a reality show now.
Yeah. So it's like, and then she'll be posting videos and pictures of herself at, like, Choice Awards and stuff like that, and it's like, these kids are probably sitting at home and they're like, wow, I wish I was famous, I wish I could do that. Like, they're comparing their lives to, like, these people who have so much money at a young age, and they probably feel like they're not fulfilled and they have to live up to be something more, you know, because they're constantly, even if it's subconsciously, you're just seeing that scrolling throughout your day, like, every day. It's just a lot. I don't know. So, yeah, I think it's definitely...
Think about, like, you're not the person who you were when you were, like, 16 years old, 15, whatever. And they have, like, the power within their hands to put something out into the world and the universe and the internet that can never be deleted and can, like, a paper trail. And they probably can't even fully grasp the concept of that yet because they're not adults.
And there's some things that people can put out.
And they can ruin their lives.
I've seen it.
And it's like it's really not fair.
Because
it's like a weapon. Like, it could be a tool in so many, like, you have the world at your fingertips, like, so much can happen so much more efficiently. You can learn, you can use it as a tool.
It's such
or
a
it could be a weapon.
Sword. Yeah, it really is. Like, my mom says social media is ruining this country. She says it all the time.
But it's also like the news and the media and everything.
Like I've seen kids on TikTok comment and fight each other on, like, politics, and it's like, what is going on with the world? Like, it's really just, like,
they're
causing so much, like,
learning
tension and, like, harmful attitudes. Like, I don't know. It's just there's no more like friendliness and peace and anymore. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's always, everyone's always fighting. Everyone's always arguing in, like, comments on Facebook and stuff. Like, everyone's always making fun of each other. Like, I literally watch TikToks and I feel like people don't understand that these are people too, and they probably read your comments and they can say, like, really nasty things. And I'm like, these people are brutal. Do you ever see that, like, on comments? Like,
I know.
It's just, but, think I'm scared to see what the future holds. I really am. Like, I think about.
I mean, if this is like
if
the
this is
crazy
where we're at
jump
now,
that we just like, my siblings are in an entirely different world than I was when I was their age. They're my siblings. Think about like our kids' kids. What is that going to be like with technology? Like, it's not just gonna. This isn't gonna be it. There's constantly new. Like, it's impossible to fully protect your child if you ever have one. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. Like, it's gonna be so crazy.
Another world out there.
I can't even imagine raising a kid, a teenager, right now, and think about it.
I always think that. So like relating to like my like own personal experience, like when we were younger, we had Facebook. I had like Facebook and AIM. Did you have AIM? That was,
yes,
like, the first
and I
form
said
of social media.
statuses.
Yeah, but that was all you could do was just talk to friends and like make a status, and it was like going to gymnastics. Hit my cell later. Like, it was just stupid stuff
but
like
do you remember
that.
there was also like these trends where like you would put someone, like there would be like specific people who like were cool enough to be like one of your friends, listed as your friends, or like in your bio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You were like on their close friends list, or you
had,
weren't.
like, a
It's like this
profile.
exclusive
Literally,
thing.
Yes,
And
I remember that.
yeah.
You had a profile, and like a lot of people put like my top 5 best friends.
Yes.
And it was like, and if you didn't make the list, you were like, what? Like,
And it was just like a game.
It was depressing. I remember, this is like sad, but like I remember even I was on Facebook once in like 7th grade, and the guy I liked so much, I saw he was like in a relationship with this other girl, and I was heartbroken. I was so
he
sad.
used to post us as his status.
Yeah, it was like so-and-so was in a relationship with, and I was like, like, so depressed. Like,
do you remember Facebook when people would post like in a relationship and like people would actually like it, and then you'd break up and
it was like
single.
a big drama, like so-and-so is single, and it was like, it just caused so much drama.
Comments.
Yeah. Do you remember when
wait. What? You go
I was gonna say, do you remember when Snapchat had best friends and you can see other people's best
Oh,
friends?
you can
like,
see
top 3
them.
best friends, and
And
that
now
caused
you
so much
can't.
drama
Now
because
you
like
just,
your
like,
boyfriend was
interpret
talking to someone, like, yeah.
Yeah, you got
Crazy
them.
times.
You could know who the guy you're talking to was also talking to. Like, you knew who else was on the roster, just there.
Isn't that
right
crazy?
before your eyes.
Imagine
Can you imagine being like our age with that access now, that people jump through hoops?
And I remember
like,
when they updated it and got rid of that, and everyone freaked out.
Yeah.
And I was like, relax, like.
Oh my god, no, but that goes to show though, like, especially teenagers, we're talking like we're catty, like little kids, but it's a joke. Teenagers are really like that though.
Yeah. I don't know. I just remember like being in 7th grade, and like it was like a whole other world to me. Like, I don't know why. I just thought, and things that I was like, I was so shy when I was in middle school. Like, I was super shy, and I think I just like felt more comfortable online to like say what I wanted. But like I feel like I would never say those things in person to anyone. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like I would make my statuses like something depressing or something, but I would never act like that in person to someone. But that's how you would feel deep down. I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. It's kind of like people can do anything behind a screen, or they can like hide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was just. So
I feel like it doesn't. Okay,
it's still
that's
relevant.
why
It's still so relevant to kids today. How as when we were just starting out with the social media. You know, like it was so different than it was today. It is today, but yet it's like the same.
Yeah.
I remember my brother had MySpace. I never had that. Did you?
No, because that was.
I feel like that was like the generation before us, kind of.
Yeah.
And then that was like not so popular anymore, and Facebook took over. And then I feel like adults.
Wait, I was gonna say something about Facebook too.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you would make your family like your friends?
Yeah, like
and then that you would know who the clique was, because like these 3-4 girls are sisters, but like, oh my god, they added me, like.
Yeah. Or like if you were married to someone for fun, like even if it was like your best friend.
Yeah.
And then they like would divorce you and marry someone else. Did your friends ever do that? Maybe just me. But
No. I'm just lost in thought. Yes.
Yeah, that is so weird. But I was also going to say, I feel like back then have an issue with like being obsessed over likes. There was a lot less pressure to. I feel like in high school, once Instagram came out, like a little bit later, people started obsessing over likes. I remember my friend being like, "If I don't get 100 likes on a post, I delete it." Like,
yeah.
And one time my friend was like, "If I'm following over 1,000 people, I unfollow people." And it's like, honestly, who really cares that? No one is actually looking at your profile and being like, "Oh my god, what a loser! Like she's following more than 1,000 people." Like no one actually cares.
And
how
it's
much
also
besides you.
all relative. Like the number changed as we got older. It'll change again, and people won't care. It's just like everyone just signs their power away to. It's like this. It's like this thing that you can like statistically see, like measure, like the amount of love you have, the amount of like connections, or like I don't know how cool you are. It's this way of, and then it like validates you in this like very surface level sense of people get more and more and more of it. It's like you're not even developing the real like. You know that's enough, so no one ever really works on themselves.
Yeah.
To actually feel that way, like as a sustainable long term.
I was like that when I was younger. When I was probably like high school, maybe a little bit at the beginning of college, I like cared so much about like how many likes I got and how I looked, and I would compare myself to others. And then one day I just stopped caring. Maybe that came with like just becoming older and not being a teenager anymore. But I just like stopped caring about stuff like that. It's so like it's not the real you. The way people portray themselves online is so. It's really honestly really fake. Because no one's as happy as they make it seem. Everyone just posts their highlights and like their most like happy moments of them on vacation. But they don't see you when you're like upset and crying. Like even relationships, like people post. I know people personally, so many people who act like they have the best relationship online and like in real life, I'm like, you guys cheat on each other. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's just never as it seems. People try to portray themselves to be so perfect, and that just puts pressure on everybody else because people see that and they try to live up to those standards, but those standards aren't even really real. You know what I'm saying?
And I think like especially for teenagers, when that whole stage of your life is just like about creating yourself. Once you have like a specific look on like you've established like this is the person I am, and like it's out there and people know you as this, and you feel like stuck, like you can't be anything else. And those are what those years are for. Like I used to wear
go through phases.
Red tight skinny jeans, and like I went through a goth phase. Like
I was like obsessed with black in college.
But there's no record of that, and I didn't start Instagram coincidentally during that stage of my life where I felt like that was my brand now, so I couldn't change it, and I was stuck being a goth girl for the rest of my life. Like
you're supposed to
go through
phases, and like I don't know, it's like
everyone's like just trying to create a look or a brand. I feel like that's the way like everything you just described. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean
they're more focused on like how the way they appear than like.
It's one thing if people do it as like a blog and that's their passion to like create an aesthetic, but like
but for kids,
and if you're
like
doing
personal,
I feel like when you're doing it for the validation of others, if you look for likes and think of that as like some sort of external validation, you're never going to be satisfied because you're always going to try to keep getting more likes and live up to. You're going to compare yourself to people who are, you know, have more likes than you or more famous than you or have better pictures than you. You're going to keep comparing yourself and you're never going to be happy or satisfied.
And then also, if you just immediately get, like, validation for this one thing, and then that, like, that's sustainable enough for you to keep living your life in search of those highs, you're never going to, like, develop any other real interests or, like, grow your talents or become the person you're supposed to be. You're just gonna be the person that like everyone else. It seems like everyone else most likes you at. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for kids, they probably don't even know. I feel like teenagers now.
I see my younger cousins on social media, and they're in high school. And I'm like, I feel so bad for them because like I couldn't even imagine like. Dealing like with it nowadays, like everyone edits their bodies in pictures.
Oh my god, we should talk about that.
Yeah,
with kids, like growing up and
no one did that when we were
not
younger.
being comfortable with your body because your body's changing until, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone's body's so weird when they're developing in those, like, stages in life, and then people have to scroll their Instagram seeing all these skinny influencers and then feel pressure to, like, edit their bodies. It's really sad. It is. And I feel like it does so much damage on your mental health because you're just constantly comparing your lifestyle and getting FOMO. Like, I remember I would go on Facebook and, like, see that all my other friends are, like, out doing stuff. Like, when I was in like 10th grade, I would go through Instagram and I would see all my friends hanging out, and, like, why didn't they invite me to hang out? And I would get so depressed and upset, and I would just sit home alone and be sad. Like, you wouldn't have to worry about that if you grew up in, like, the 1980s. Like, maybe you would hear about it at school, but it would be totally different. It wouldn't ruin your whole weekend, you know. But I don't know. I feel like it's definitely just a hard thing to monitor when it's your child. Like, I couldn't imagine, like, having to, like, keep a close eye on my child, because I was looking at, like, I used to, like, go on Facebook and, like, see all, like, the older people do, like, go to parties and they would post pictures with, like, beer cans and stuff, and I was just like, oh my god, they drink? Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I was so scared as a parent, like, what my kid is stupid enough to post that could be out there forever, like, haunting them.
And
that's what my fear would be.
Think, as a parent, like, you might think you know what your child is watching, but you never know. You don't.
Yeah.
You might think, oh no, they don't do anything bad. They just have Snapchat. You don't know. They could download Instagram. There's age requirements, but I remember when I was
you're just gonna just say
you just scroll down and you're like, I was born in 1990.
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
That's what everyone does. And, like,
do you remember? This is off topic.
What?
Do you remember, like, when people used to, like, illegally download LimeWire? That when people used to actually have to pay for each song, like, when we had to download music onto iPods.
Yeah.
Do you remember buying music from Apple Music?
And now it's just so different. Social media changed so much when we were kids.
It was such a process. Everything was
It's
such
not
a
like
process.
social media, but
No, just like technology in general.
And it's gonna keep changing. That's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's gonna, like, keep, like, getting worse and worse. I don't know.
I feel like for brain development too.
It definitely hinders your development in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely love to research it more.
Articles about it. I just never actually.
I would love to, like, learn more about it. I know it hinders your social skills for sure. Like I said, like, people are just not living in the moment. It's harder for them to engage and talk to others. But they're so used to just talking to their friends on their phone. So
it's painful sometimes to have a conversation with a teenager now. Because they're just, like, they don't have any social cues or decency, like, to even regard the person that they're, like, that's trying to speak to them.
Yeah.
Like, they're on their phone, they're in another world. It's scary, they're like robots.
Scary. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I catch myself doing that sometimes, and I'm like, oh my god, stop, put your phone down. Like,
I'm talking about, like, teenagers like I'm 45 years old.
I know. And I feel so old. But, yeah, I don't know. I definitely would, I don't know what I would do for my kid. Like, I don't know. I mean, that brings us to our first Q&A, if you want to get into it.
Okay.
So, it's at what age would I let my future kids have social media? And I feel like it depends on the platform. I don't know.
Yeah. And there are also, like, restrictions that you can put in place as a parent. But I think, honestly, my parents, with all of my siblings, I was, like, the last person to have a phone in my class, and the last person to have. So it's, like, it's by that. It's, like, because I could say, like, 14, whatever, now, I guess that would be, like, a normal number, because by the time they're 12, they're going to be like, come on, everyone in my class has it.
Mm-hmm.
So 14 would be reasonable, but I know by the time we're parents, it's going to be like everything's changed. You don't really know, like.
Yeah. I feel like first of all it's gonna be so different in 10 years or whatever when we have kids, but
it's just scary to think that people like kids could get them even younger than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it definitely depends on the platform. 1, 2. I would probably let them maybe like around like 12 or 13. I don't know. Maybe that's even too young. But I think I would start slow.
I feel like you would give in at some point.
Yeah.
Because they would start asking you at 10 or like 10.
Yeah. I would probably start slow with like Snapchat or something. Something like simple. And then like let them, as they get older, give them more permission to use other platforms. But I don't know, because it's also like a thing where I don't want them on their phone all the time. I want them to play outside and like do things and do activities. I don't want to like go on trips with my kids and do things with my kids and have them be on their phone the whole time. I would probably give them like a limit or something. Like you can only be on your phone for like 30 minutes a day or whatever.
Or maybe I would give a phone to my kid like when they needed it for
that
communication. Like whenever they started probably being left home alone because no one has house phones anymore. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely for like obviously give them a phone for like safety issues.
It would be so hard because you can't. Even as much as you try, like, you can't really fully.
Kids are so sneaky, too. I feel like I would, like, give me your phone, and I would look and be like, okay, they don't have any social media apps.
But would you even want to look through your kid's phone? Because I feel like I could be permanently scarred if I saw something that I didn't want to see.
Yeah, and I also don't.
And then there's
also, like, you want your kids to trust you, and you want to be able to be like, I trust you, I'm not going to go through your phone. You know what I'm saying?
But then how do you ever really trust that situation?
You have to, like, earn your trust, you know?
Yeah.
But
there's so much out there that's not good for kids.
Yeah.
Or teenagers. And safety.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't want
for
them talking
kids,
to strangers and stuff like that. So
once you're online, there's like predators, there's everywhere.
Yeah, it just facilitates access to all of that. Definitely.
Yeah.
Next question is, how can we help teens use social media to connect rather than to compare? So, I'm going to bring up a good point. Did you see Bella Hadid's like Instagram post? It was like a month ago.
Which one?
Okay, so then you don't know what I'm talking about, because she posted something and like everyone was like posting it on like websites and stuff, because she made I don't know if it was a video or a picture of herself crying, and then she wrote in the caption like, social media isn't real, this is how I am every single night, or something like that. Like, I cry myself to sleep every single night. If you're battling with mental health, just know you're not alone, something like that. Which was like, yeah. And I feel like that is so real, and it's so authentic, and it's so important for people to see that and be like, wow, look at this really rich supermodel that everyone's jealous of because she's beautiful and she's living the life and she's young, but really, like, she's miserable. She's crying herself to sleep every night.
It's kind of sad. That makes us feel better.
It doesn't, right? But it doesn't make us feel better, but it makes us feel less alone, too.
Yeah,
okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It makes you think, like, okay, maybe what you see, like, I love the quote, the grass is only greener because it's fake. Mm-hmm. It's, like, it's so true. And
I love it when celebrities, when celebrities are, like, role models, or people, especially, like, we're talking about teenagers, like, teenagers look up to, follow, whatever, who are like seeing all of this stuff being like brainwashed. Yeah. I love when they like make an effort to talk about mental health or to be like really honest, not like in a way that's seeking attention for
another purpose. That's what I was gonna say. Like it's hard because you can post something. It's like you never win, because you could post something like your life is perfect, or you could post something that you're upset, or you could open up and people
there's just too much
like
judgment.
She wants attention, or she's a crybaby, she wants attention, but that's weird, why would she post that? It's like, you can't really win, but like, you just gotta ignore what people say, go with your heart. If you want to put yourself out there to let people know that they're not alone and that they can connect with you, then go ahead and do it, you know? Like, I always post, like, stories once in a while. Like, I'll repost something about, like, mental health or whatever. And I don't know, I feel like
there's a lot of good stuff out there too.
Yeah.
You can find like your niche, like you can follow things that are so inspirational.
There's so many good sides to social media.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Al Hadid thing, like a teenager who follows her and like compares herself to her life probably can see that and be like, okay, wow, like that's so cool. Like I feel less alone, and I feel like people understand me when I'm going through depressive episodes and I'm crying for no reason. Like it's like you're like, okay, I'm not abnormal for doing that. Like Bella Hadid's doing that. Like I don't know. I feel like a young person can relate to that, and that's all she wanted to do. Like, I don't think she was looking for attention. I think she just wanted to show people that they're not alone in their struggles, which I think is really helpful. That's a good part of social media too. Like someone with a big platform and millions of followers can use that for good.
Yeah, double-edged sword.
Exactly. But yeah, you can also that's actually getting to my next Q&A. What are some of the positive factors of teens using social media? We just kind of touched
that.
Yeah. So, but again, getting back to it, I was also going to say TikTok. I feel like I learned so much on TikTok. I learned so much.
I know.
Teens can learn a lot. Like I literally sit there and watch educational videos all the time. That will be 3 minutes.
I think it's honestly, it depends. Like you have this thing at your disposal that you can either use, and it's just where you put your attention.
Yeah.
And can you raise a kid well enough by the time they have this thing that they can use for good, or use to just distract and be aimless and whatever and negative and be in a negative space with it, or are they going to use this as a tool and
look up things they're interested in?
That's what it should be. It should be a tool. There should be a development, sometime before the time I have kids, there should be just a new way or new normal for social media that's I don't know, a new standard that only adults should use this and only kids should use this, and there should be and
that way try to do that, but it's very hard to accomplish that. But you can always, shoot for it. But what was I going to say?
Regulations, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. And the algorithm for Instagram, if you're just exploring, or TikTok too, it's everything you like. Which, have you seen it's a documentary, I forgot what it's called, but it's on Netflix. Oh my god, what is it called? I forgot. But it was a documentary of social media. It came out during quarantine. I watched it. I don't know if
I feel like I remember watching something like that. I think I did, but can you talk about maybe?
So it basically was showing you how the algorithm makes you more addicted to your phone, because it's showing you what you want.
Wait, there's a Supreme Court case.
Really?
Oh my god, I asked Google this morning to tell me the news, and and unless I dreamt this, there's a Supreme Court case about and it's about a child, how it's addicting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Instagram, I heard a little clip from the guy who was representing Instagram, someone who works there, saying, I don't believe that it's inherently addictive, whatever, some BS.
Yeah, no, it is. It was
but it's
they talk about how
happening now. That's the first Supreme Court case against a social media company.
Wow.
It's okay.
I never heard of that. I'm gonna look it up now.
I know. I have to read more about it.
I was gonna say. Oh yeah, so the documentary, it also talks about how you can look up when you Google stuff, how ads come up on your phone when you Google something, or I don't know. It just talks about how the technology behind all of it, how it all works. But I think that was really interesting.
The algorithm, because it's they're all tracking, they're monetizing you. They're tracking everything that you even look at for an extra second, and then targeting everything you see.
Can you look up social media documentary? I'm trying to think of the name of it. But yeah, so that's definitely a good watch for anyone who hasn't seen that. But
Netflix.
there are Netflix.
Social Dilemma.
Social Dilemma.
Yeah. I feel like you said that within.
Did I say that?
You're like, it's a social dilemma. Maybe.
I don't know if I said
but
dilemma.
You didn't think that
But,
was the...
So, what was I going to say? Also, upside to social media, like you said, people can connect, people can easily be in touch with their friends and look up educational videos. It teaches you a lot. Like, I really think TikTok teaches me a lot. But you have to be careful because you never know what's real or not. Like, they might be misleading information.
That's what I was going to say, too. Like, kids are getting, like, most of their information about politics and the way this country is and everything and, like, what their view of reality is from, like, TikTok, Instagram, like, whatever. It's, like, it's just being, like, chewed up and spit out by whatever, like, is popular within their own social circle.
Everything is coming from a subjective point
It's like no one is actually learning how to use their brain.
Yeah. Those are all that's different. Like, that's all just other people's opinions. And it's coming from a subjective
But as a
point of
kid, you're, like, learning all these things, absorbing it.
Exactly. So you're watching this person's speech and you're thinking everything that they're saying is right and everything's valid. And it could be total BS. Like, you don't...
Yeah.
And, like, that can be harmful, too, in a way. That could honestly be a bad thing when you're talking about education.
There's so many, like, kids, I mean, like, so many people struggle with, like, mental illnesses in general, but kids are often depressed, like, going through things as they grow up, and way more, like, I don't know, like, they're way more emotionally reactive, like, and unstable in the sense where they don't know what to do with their emotions yet, like, they're figuring it out, so they're so much more vulnerable to, like, you know, just getting angry about something, finding like, identity in, like, some group online or whatever, and being malleable to, like, whatever they want.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Being, like, manipulated.
And it's like, oh, these people that I want to be like think this way, I should think this way.
And they shouldn't have
because
like,
they don't have a sense of identity yet. So they're looking at other people to influence their sense of identity, and they're like, okay, I'm going to go whatever they say. Their opinion, they probably value their role model's opinion so much that they're not going to have an opinion for themselves and a brain for themselves. So they're just going to act like however they see these YouTubers or these TikTokers act. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like it's like you have the ability to see what, like, anyone's life is like, and you just decide what you want your life to be like.
Even like,
and then
it's
all aspirational, like, it's always, like, pushing away, like,
the YouTubers,
the happiness you could have now in the present moment.
Yeah, it's, like, taking away from that, for sure. But, like, the YouTubers, do you ever see them, like, the influencers post, like, a day in my life, and then it's, like, a perfect day in their life. It's, like, that's not the average day in your life. That's probably, like, you're taking the best parts and putting it all in one video, and you're presenting it to be, like, you're living this perfect life, and it's, like, probably not like that every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, got coffee, maybe like clean my apartment, this and this, and it's like, that's a day that you would want to have. Maybe that's a day in your life. Maybe that's one day.
Maybe that's like a day. Like,
and then these teens are comparing their lives to them, their lifestyles, and it's not good. I don't know.
That's the thing, though, like, sometimes it's,
I just feel like people need to be more real.
This is a day. It would be so much more honest if they were just like, this is a day that I planned on filming for aesthetic purposes. That would be a really great day to have every day that I don't actually pull off every day. Like,
exactly.
That's the reality.
But sometimes they do that on TikTok. Like, some people would be like making fun, like a parody, like, this is a day in my life in New York City, and it's like a rat crossing the street or something. You know what I'm saying? Like a realistic day.
People do like the satirical ones, like making fun of.
But I feel like it's hard for me to remember. Like, I see that stuff and I'm like, wow, that's sick. But I'm like, wait a second, that's not probably realistic. But how do you remember that? How do you think of that as a teenager? You're you're so like, your identity is not formed yet, and you're like, wow, I want to be like this person, or I want to be like this person. This person lives a life like so cool, and it's just so easy to compare. I don't know. But there was nothing like that when we were teenagers. There was nothing like how it is now with like YouTube channels and stuff.
Wait,
like
we
that.
haven't even talked about like when you see a group of teenagers at a restaurant now, and all they're doing is on their phones, like taking snapshots, taking pictures, like having a photo shoot.
Yeah.
Like I don't even know when they eat their dinner, like when they have a conversation, because that's all they do at the table.
And it's like you get so stressed
time.
out with like I used to be that way.
It's like your whole life is just like proving something to someone.
Mm-hmm. I used to be like, we're doing this, I need to get a good Instagram picture, and then I just stopped caring at some point.
Yeah.
Like it was so much better when you stopped caring, like, about social media and like stuff like that. I was like, I need to get a good picture, no eat their food yet before I take a story. I still catch myself doing that, and I'm like, I'm so
Yeah, but
annoyed.
that's like just for fun.
But,
I'm just saying when it's like to an obnoxious extent, and it's like a whole group of young girls.
Like, can you just sit down?
It's just like young girls, and all they're doing, like they're going out to dinner exclusively to take a photo shoot, and I feel like that's
just to
really
prove
sad.
to their friends that they're having a good time.
Like,
and
there's a
people know
difference.
what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's kind of toxic, but
Yeah.
well, I don't know.
And they're all like, well, I know I sound like a grandma, but like, I don't know, like young kids, like 14-year-olds who have Instagrams, who are like public or like able like to be seen by like anyone, God forbid anyone, and like I don't know, it's just like a safety issue.
Yeah,
but
I feel like that's I never thought about that. It's true. I don't know. I just think it can be very toxic, and I feel like it's only going to change. We're only going to have a better future with social media if people are just more authentic and put their authentic selves online and stop feeling so pressured to live up to this cool lifestyle. I feel like podcasts are really good because it opens the door up for communication and to like talk about like actual deep stuff.
Yeah,
like that's why it's a good thing that it's getting more popular, and like kids listen to that, so that's definitely good. That's like a step in the right
also,
direction.
one parent like listens to every podcast they like fully through before their kid does. People could say anything they want on a podcast. They could listen to call him daddy.
Call daddy. Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like there's so much.
Which I think they say you have to be like 18 or older, but like no one.
You
no
can
one
have
knows.
the app Spotify.
Yeah, like so. I don't know. It's crazy, and I feel like that opens the door up for sex for kids a lot more. To be so like accustomed to it.
Oh my god, and they
that.
see so much.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah,
it's so much more than I ever knew. I was like,
like it's just so much information for a young mind to like comprehend.
They
that probably isn't healthy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll end on that note because we went through everything. But thank you for joining me.